Hello and good day. Welcome to Woman to Woman. It's Lady Christine Foster. As always, happy and excited to be with you all today. I am looking forward every week that I'm able to come out and just talk to you all, to meet with my sisters all around the world, and just to encourage you, let you know that God loves you and that I am looking for the great things that you're going to do. God has so much in store for those of us that believe and those of us that have the willpower to go after what we believe we have in our hearts to do. I just believe that God has given each of us power, and He's given us an ability, and He has so much that He wants to use us. And I look forward to it every week, just to bring other women from the body of Christ onto our TV network, Woman to Woman show, which airs every Saturday at 2 p.m. For those of you who don't know, we also have a Facebook page that you can go out and ask to become a friend of. I would love to have my sisters join me. I'm always looking for more sisters to be a part of this network. We're also showing our Life Matters show every Saturday at 10. Life Matters is our channel that's open for all women of all walks of life in different various ministries. So we are looking to build a great network on the Woman to Woman, on Life Matters, on Power of God Broadcasting TV Network. So again, thank you all for joining us today. I have a special guest that is joining me in our studio today, and I'm really looking forward to bringing her on and having her introduced and share her story with you all. As you know, Power of God is really about just bringing other women out to the forefront. There's so many of us that have gifts and talents and abilities, and we don't know about each other. And so I try to make sure that, because God has given us this network and the ability to do so, to bring other women to the forefront that are doing something, that are trying to make a name for themselves, that are doing things in ministry, things in business. And it gives me great honor today to bring this young lady to the forefront. Our special guest today is Takara Harris, who goes by the name of Takara Nicole. She is originally from Aberdeen, Maryland, but currently resides in Savannah, Georgia. Takara is the mother of two amazing gifted children, Joy and Hayden Harris. She is a woman that wears many hats, but first and foremost is a child of God. She has been in ministry her entire life and has used her gifts both in the church and in marketplace. She has over 15 years of experience in the beauty industry, business management, and she is the CEO of several thriving businesses. She is best known for her ability to help others to reach their potential, her premier business management knowledge, and her in-depth knowledge of health hair. Takara has been a business owner for 7 years, and her expertise, coaching, consulting, and mentorship is sought out among many other professions, not only in the beauty ministry. This has prompted her to establish Transform Now Business and Consulting Services, which offers business coaching, life coaching, business consulting, financial literacy, management marketing, training, and administration. She has a mindset of never stop learning, and always pushing herself to accomplish anything she puts her mind to. Takara has the unique ability to challenge others, to dig deeper, push and pull purpose out of others, and help them to arise to their full potential. So it gives me great honor today to introduce to some, present to others, and also welcome those that know her from the Aberdeen area and even in Georgia, Takara Nicole. Let's receive her today with a hearty welcome.
Hello, everybody. Hello,
Hello,
hello.
Takara. It's so good to be with you.
Hello. It's good to be
It's
here. Thank you so
yeah.
much for having me. Thank you for thinking of me. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. It is such an honor just to, as I said, bring you on the network. I'm always looking for women of God, women, period, that are trying to do something to encourage others, especially on this channel, Life Matters and Woman to Woman. Takara, I know you were grown and birthed in the Aberdeen, Maryland area, which is, for some, if you don't know, that's my hometown. That's where I was born and raised, is Aberdeen, Maryland. And Takara says she was in ministry all of her life. And Takara, tell us why you say you've been in ministry all your life.
So I say I've been in ministry all my life because my parents are pastors. And so we grew up at another ministry, and then later on, they started their own ministry. So my entire life, I have been in ministry. And even as I've grown older, even though I'm not at home, I'm still in ministry.
Yes. So as we can see, because of that, Takara is a PK.
I am.
And that's a whole nother bug, isn't it?
It is. It is definitely a whole nother bug. It is a difference just going to church and being a PK.
Yeah.
Being a PK, there is a certain type of like almost like requirement that sometimes people have of you that you have to
Yes.
be perfect, you have to do
Mhm.
this, you have to do that, you can't mess up. It's like the microscope is always on you all the time to be
Right.
this perfect person. And so sometimes it can be a little hard, trying to navigate through that. Also, the things that your parents go through,
Mhm.
sometimes they can affect us. And, we can't always
Mhm.
say something about the things that we see or however we feel about how sometimes we feel like they're treated or the things that they go through. So it's definitely a struggle, or was a struggle, I'll say, being
Yes.
a PK.
Yes, I agree. I wasn't raised as a PK, although a lot of times people thought my father was Bishop Lee,
Yeah.
because I was always with them. Everywhere the church went, we were
Yes.
involved in everything. My family has always been a major support of our home church. But I have had the opportunity, as you know, to walk in the shoes of a first lady and be the pastor's wife. So my children have had that
Yes.
opportunity to be PK uh, children, PK kids, and I wanted to just touch on that briefly because I know that it's not easy to be only easy to be a pastor's wife, but also to be a pastor's child. And as you said, yes,
Yeah.
a lot of times that microscope is on you, and you're expected to do so much perfectly. I often say that a lot of times people, like in the church, sometimes the saints, want us to be patient with their children, but
Yeah.
when it comes to our own or the PK kids,
That's true.
it's like you don't expect them to do wrong, but they're just
Right.
as human as your child is. So I try to point that out a lot of times. So I want to say hats off to you for surviving being a pastor's
Yes.
child.
Yes, most definitely.
Yes. And not only that, after surviving it, um, you're on the flip side of that now. You're still in the ministry. And so you were going to church at one point because your parents were teaching you that you had to go, and they bought you. But now you have segued into doing what you're doing because you want to. What is that like now? When did you find that God had a call on your life and answer that?
So it started when I was younger. So ever since I would say about 15 or so, I believe that there was definitely a call in my life. I was a praise and worship leader.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was a youth pastor, preaching and teaching. But one thing I know is that my parents always instill relationship more than
Right.
anything. And so I feel like as I've gotten older, because I was in relationship with God, there was not really, uh, I would say, a part of my life where I distanced myself from
Mm-hmm.
God.
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of stayed steady. I've made mistakes. I'm not perfect,
Right.
but I've always been in relationship with Him. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that makes all the difference than knowing God through your parents, knowing God through your grandparents, your family members, and just not going to church just to go. But then when you're in relationship with Him, I think there is a difference in your walk that kind of
Right.
keeps you in a steady place. And so as I've gotten older, I've just remained in Him. I've maintained that relationship with Him, no matter what I've gone through, the pain or whatever, whatever the situation has been. I
Mm-hmm.
have indeed, just remained, that relationship with Him.
That is so much important, and I agree that having a relationship with God is on a personal level is
Yes,
very much needed, and we can't survive without God. So I
we
know
can.
that as you started off, like I said, growing up and being taught the way to go, as the Bible tells us, train up the child in the way they should go, not only in the church but also in life. But going out and growing up and learning who God was really to you, having that
Yes,
instilled in you and having a relationship with him, I'm sure. And I want to delve into that a little bit further in a few minutes. After you started going through things, I'm sure
mhm.
that part helped to
Yes,
carry you, to keep you from sinking in the middle of sometimes what the devil designed to kill you.
yes.
He allowed you through God to turn it around and make it for your good. So I'm
That
really,
is that is that is very true because
yes.
the thing is that we learn him through our tests and our trials. You know,
Mm-hmm.
as we go through, we learn who God is to us. And
Right.
so as I've gotten older and I've faced different situations, I've learned God for me. You know, even though I grew up in a way where I have relationship, but as I went through those trials and tribulations and how he kept me, how he kept my mind and different things like that, I
Mm-hmm.
learned who he was to me.
So you, since we're here, I know that recently Takara has written a book, and I'm going to try to get to that title of the book because I want to say it. It is "The Pain That Pushed Me."
Yes.
So tell us about how this book was birthed, and maybe if you want to, whatever you want to share, why you wrote this book.
So I wrote this book. Really, it was God
Mm-hmm.
impressing it upon me. It was a couple years back, and He started to deal with me. And just as I'm always a person that journals, so I like to write, and so
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of journaled a lot of my life, so to
Okay.
speak. And so I've gone through many different things, from childhood on up, And so I started to kind of journal, my life, and I started to read through some of those things. And as I read through them, God started to deal with me about what I learned in the process. And so
Mm-hmm.
the first thing, the reason why I wrote this book is to let people know that they're not alone. I think a
Right.
lot of times people have this misconception of people and they look at them and they feel like they're perfect. I
Mm-hmm.
know that a lot of people through conversation have kind of seemed like, I'm perfect, as if I don't go through anything. I don't have situations, because I'm not a person that wears my situation on my face. I'm not the type of person that wears it in my countenance as I walk around in my workplace.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to kind of separate that. And so
Right.
sometimes people are just like, girl, you good. You know what I'm saying? Your life is good. You're great. You don't go through anything. And I'm just like, yes, I do. I've just always been a very private person. So I don't really feel the need to kind of share unless God allows me to share. And
Right.
so first and foremost, I wrote it because I wanted people to know that they weren't alone. You're not
Right.
alone in your pain. You're not alone in your situation. There are other people that are going through the same exact thing that you are going through.
Mm-hmm.
The second reason I wrote this book was because I wanted people to know that you don't have to be a victim.
Right.
And I think
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when we go through painful situations, we feel justified in our pain, which
Mm-hmm.
is okay, because sometimes we go through things that really hurt us. But we keep this mentality as a victim sometimes. And
Right.
so we hold on to that. They hurt me. It hurt me. And so we hold on to it so much so that it's almost like we become in bondage to that thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It holds us in a place. And so at the end of every prayer throughout the book, I always say that I will not allow my pain to hold me hostage,
Yes.
because sometimes we are held hostage to that pain, and it keeps us in a stagnant place. It keeps us in a place where we are no longer growing. We are no
Right.
longer moving. And so I wanted people to understand that you're not a victim, that we do have victory through our trials and our tribulations. And the last thing I want people to understand is that there's greater on the other side.
Hmm.
Through everything that I went through, everything that I faced, through every single painful situation, it made me who I am. I'm not bitter and I'm not
That's
mad.
right.
I'm not hurt. But I rejoice in the fact that I made it through. and that greater is indeed on the other side of whatever the situation is that you are going through.
So that's where the book, The Pain That Pushed Me, was birthed from. For those of you who weren't aware, Takara just recently released this book. And I haven't personally gotten mine, but I'm going to get one as well, because I am a firm believer to try to support any and everybody that is trying to do something. I'm not always able, but when I am, I try to make sure that I do. So putting you on the network is my way of supporting as well, because I want as many people to know about it. For those that might want to purchase your book, Takara, where can they find this book?
They can find it online at takaranicole.com. So TakaraNicole.com.
Okay, takaranicole.com. So if you're desiring to read this book, which I do encourage each of you to support someone else. The Bible tells us to do unto others as we would have them do unto us. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody's going to do what you are doing, but if you follow the principle that God gives us, then he will bless you in return. So this is a young woman who is striving to do great things, and she has taken what was inside and brought it out. I understand that part of, being private, because I'm one of those people. I'm kind of private as well. It's something I think that you learn, specifically being in a pastor's family. You learn to, kind of like, wear that face and, keep it going, keep it moving. But there are things that you deal with that you're not always able to deal with on the forefront. You have to deal with them.
And to that, and the thing is that what I learned is that it's the enemy's plan to hold us hostage, because what it does is it keeps us silent. And as long as you are silent and you are held hostage, there is no freedom.
You got that right.
And so I learned throughout this process, even about finding someone that I'm accountable to, so that I don't suffer in silence, because you have to talk to somebody to kind of get it out, because if not, the enemy holds you hostage to it. And that's why people are not walking out their freedom, is because their pain has held them into this place where they feel like they have to be closed mouth. And so you have so many people, and that's one of the things, the reviews that I've gotten, is people that have said that that's me, like I suffer in silence. There's so many people, women, that are suffering in silence. On the inside, you're worn, you're mad, you're angry, and you just feel like I just can't get it out. And so as long as you stay in that place, you'll never reach your full potential. And so that's another reason, big reason why I was really big on writing this book, is because I want us to reach our full potential. And you will never reach your full potential if you are always so stuck on the pain. And you never understand, well, what did I learn in the process? And that's what I talk about in the book. Not so much the pain, but what did I learn in the process? What did I gain, in the process of my pain?
Yes. When you had made that comment that what I went through, that I'm no longer angry, because initially when this stuff happens, when things happen to you, you are angry. You're angry. You're hurt. And a lot of times you're trying to figure out, why me? And, these are all questions that all of us have asked and may be asking today. But what I'm glad that you were able to pull from it, and I have too learned, is that everything that we go through, or have gone through or will ever go through, God doesn't waste any bit of that. He uses all of it so that we are able to help somebody else, just like you're doing through this book, being able to share where you come from. And then it's not like, even though I went through this, I'm not I haven't been burned. I'm not bitter. I am able to still love. And I'm able to go back and pull another sister or even another brother, somebody that I see that's going through a bad situation that looks bad at the moment. But God is able to take all things that we go through and turn around for our good. because
Because
we
all
believe in
things work together. Because
that's
all
right.
things work together for the
That's
good. It's
right.
not just the good, but it's the
Mhm.
good and the
And the
bad.
bad.
They
That's right.
all come together to work together for your good.
Mhm.
So even in the midst of it, it might be ugly. In the midst of it, it seemed like it's a misfortune. In the midst of it, it's very unfavorable. But in the
Right.
end, it's going to work for your good. And if nothing else, you learn that I'm not going to go through this situation again. If nothing
Right.
else, it's like when you touch that, you say, don't touch that stove, and then you touch the
Right.
stove, and then, well,
Yeah,
what did you learn? I
that's
won't touch
right.
that stove again. So if nothing else, it's the lessons that we learn as we go through the process. But the thing
Right.
is that we have to learn the lesson, because
Mhm.
oftentimes we don't learn the lesson. And that's why we keep finding ourselves in the same situation, because once you learn from something, you don't dabble in it again, because I understand that this is going to happen if I
Right.
go through that. And so
Yes.
that's one thing, I have definitely learned in the process.
And I want to encourage some that may be going through their process currently while we're talking about this, because there were situations in my own life that I went through, and it was a process that sometimes didn't end right away. Sometimes we as we are going through these things, as you said, we got to learn, and that's the main thing, is that we learn from them. We do learn, but then there are things sometimes that keep you going back and forward. Eventually you
Yeah.
stop. So if
Yes.
you're going through a situation right now, ladies, or that are listening to us, and you haven't quite all the way come out of it, don't beat yourself up. Just keep
Yeah.
going. And I want you to try to sit down, write out what's happening where you are in your current situation, because sometimes we find ourselves in things, and because we're not writing down maybe how you're feeling at the
That's
moment,
good.
or why you're going through, or what happened that got you to where you are, it will keep you going back and forward into the situation. So, which I went back and forward in some things, and then eventually I got smart. And so we all get to
Yeah.
that point. We all have that aha. So when you have
Yes.
that
That
aha
aha
moment,
moment. Yes. Yes,
then you say,
indeed.
"That's it. That's
That's
it."
it. No more. That's
Yeah.
it. No more.
So don't beat yourself up. And for those that may be, witnessing with, or consulting, or counseling somebody who, you've given directions over and over again, and they don't seem to get it yet, remember that you didn't get it right away either. There were things that you had to keep going through until you had your aha moment. So with
That's
the
right.
same patience that somebody used with you, we encourage you, Takara and I both, because somebody had to be patient with us,
Yes. That's
to be
right.
patient with them, because
That's
they're going to
true.
come out too.
Yep. They are.
So Takara is now, you are a mother. As I mentioned, Takara has two children. And what is it like being a mother?
It is amazing. It's challenging, but it's amazing at the same time. So I was married for almost 10 years, and I
Mhm.
got a divorce. And
Okay.
so I'm now a single mom, for the
Mhm.
most part. And it's different, being on your own, and you're having my children full time and still trying to work at the same time. So
Right.
I'm learning that all children are different.
Mm-hmm.
I am learning again the same patience that someone has with us. We need to have the same patience with our children. I'm
Right.
also learning that there are a lot of things that we kind of grew up hearing as far as parenting. And sometimes, you just have to do what works for you, and what
Right.
works for your
Mm-hmm.
house. And so learning how to be patient with them, and they're still young, so they can't do everything for themselves. And so
Right.
sometimes it can be a little challenging, trying to work and making sure I have care for them. As you
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm in Savannah. The majority of my family is in Aberdeen. So I have
Right.
no family here. And
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of times if I need help, I need to pay for help, or I have to find somebody to help. And if my help is gone, then I gotta step in. And so sometimes it's challenging, but it is definitely rewarding. I love them. I love how God uses them a lot of times, even to speak to me. One thing I know is that a lot of times what you instill in your children, they'll give it back
Mm-hmm.
to you. And
Yes.
so in the moments when you need it the most. And so I love on them, I check on them, I make sure that they're good. And I'll say this: when I had COVID, my children, they were so worried about me. I posted on Facebook, they were so concerned about me.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the fact that the things I had instilled in them about prayer and taking care of family. They were the same way with me and making sure I was
Wow, that's
okay. And
awesome.
they were setting up they FaceTime their iPad and put it in my room so they can watch me when I sleep. If they had to go downstairs, and they would like take turns and, all right, you got mommy now, and then I got mommy now, and they were sleeping on the
Oh,
floor, to make sure I was okay. And so those are the moments that I love. And like I said, what you put into your children, you'll notice that they'll start to give some of those things back to you.
and that's awesome. How old are your children?
They are 10 and 7. I have a girl and a boy.
Girl, and well, that's good. You got one of each,
That's it.
10
That's
and
all I need.
7. And for those that may not know, Takara's parents, as she mentioned, are pastors. Her mother is Pastor Carol Taylor, and her father is Bishop Melvin Taylor. And
Yes.
the church, that ministry that they're based from is Word of Faith down in
Yes.
Aberdeen, Maryland. And so Bishop Melvin Taylor is known well, and Pastor Carol from that area. I believe both of them grew up in Aberdeen, Maryland, or somewhere around
Pretty
Aberdeen,
much.
correct?
Yep. Between
Yes.
Bel Air and Happy Grace, but pretty much Aberdeen. Yep. That area.
Yes. Both powerful people in the Lord,
They
and
are.
my friends as well. We were able at some point to be able to help them in ministry when
Yes,
they
you
didn't
did. We
have
appreciated you.
they didn't have a musician, and we were working with the choirs and everything, and the brothers. But all of that is a part of doing what we do for God. And that's what's important, is that we share our gifts. And so I'm so thankful that you have taken the time to join us today and share your gift in ministry. For those that don't know, as well, as we mentioned, that Takara also has a business in counseling. So if someone wanted to get some help in counseling or get their hair done, us ladies like to keep our hair
Yeah.
done. Maybe
Yeah,
not. If
definitely.
you're in the Georgia area, you can look Takara up and get your hair done. If not, and
Yeah.
you're in that area and maybe looking for a beautician, tell us and tell them how we can get a hold of you and your shop.
Okay. So I'm located in Richmond Hill, Georgia, which is not too far from Savannah. My salon is called the Healthy Hair Studio.
Okay.
And so my website is www.stylesbyt.net. So
Okay.
that's where you can find me.
Stylesbyt.net.
.net. Yep. And so
Okay.
my other part of my business is I am a business coach and life coach. And
Mm-hmm.
so I help people with business structure. If you're trying to start a business, if you are trying to navigate, your current business, do you feel stuck in your business? What else? If you are trying to navigate even life issues, I can assist with those as well.
Okay. Stylesbyt.net for the hair.
Yes. And
Takara.
Nicole.com. Yep, is where you can find all of my books. I have planners, I have ebooks, everything online as well.
All right now. I have been so honored to have you on our show today, and I'm so thankful that you took some time out to share your story. And I pray that those that have listened to this broadcast today have been enlightened, encouraged, have enjoyed what you have heard, and that you will go out and support Sister Takara Nicole in her businesses that she has. Takara, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you so
We love
much.
you, and we hope to
Love
see
you
you
too.
on our network.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, don't forget, join us. If you have Roku in your home, you don't have to just watch us on Facebook. You can watch us on YouTube. You can watch us on our website, which is pogbn.com. And you can also follow us right on your TV. We're on TV, Power of God Broadcasting. Add that channel to your Roku list of channels, and you'll be able to turn us on 24/7 and see the Power of God Broadcasting. 7 channels,
Awesome.
24 hours a day. So thank you again, Takara, and you have a
Thank you.
wonderful day.
You too.
Thank you, everyone, again for joining us. I hope that you've enjoyed this segment of Woman to Woman. We ask you to tune in again with us next week as we come back out again on Woman to Woman with another surprise segment. Never know what we're going to see, so we ask you all to continue to join us and follow us to see what's going to happen next.